Hello, my name is Kyle Ream, and I'm here to talk about a seminar that I attended that was about Fitnessgram training. The seminar gave us this book that breaks down what the Fitnessgram is, why we use it, and gives you a lot of helpful tips to teach the Fitnessgram to your students. Okay? The class started off by giving us an agenda here, and the first thing that we did was talk about why we do the Fitnessgram. They talked about the obesity epidemic and the health concerns that go along with obesity, such as type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular risks, hypertension, self-esteem issues, withdrawal, and anxiety. Then they went on to talk about how it affects the academics of students. Students that were obese tend to get sick more often, which affected their attendance. Then their test scores dropped because they weren't in school as much. And they also felt sluggish in the classroom and didn't pay attention as well. Okay. The class then went on to teach each fitness component of the Fitnessgram. They called up volunteers, and the instructor demonstrated how to do each particular exercise. Okay. Then after that, the teacher showed us different ways that we could teach the Fitnessgram to our students. Okay, here is a station setup that they could use. You would have each station of the Fitnessgram around the gym and use the station cards for the students so they can teach themselves how to perform each exercise. Okay, this one's for the pacer. It says line up behind the start line. On the start command, run to the opposite line before you hear the beep. At the sound of the beep, run back to the start line. Keep running until you have missed 2 beeps or till your teacher stops you. When finished, walk to cool down. Okay. Here is another setup that you could do that has the station straight down the court instead of around the boundary line. Okay. Along with those, the book also gave us peer checklist that we can do. It's kind of a rubric and a observation checklist here where your partner would observe them performing each cue of each exercise and would check it off either as they performed it correctly or they did not perform it or performed it incorrectly. Okay, this particular packet has all of the fitness components with the pacer, 1 mile run, curl up, push-ups, etc. The binder also gave us these recording sheets that you could use that would help keep track of the pacer test, where you just mark off each lap that your partner completes. Here is another rubric that you could use where you just observe the student performing the activity and mark off whether they did it or not. Okay. After that, I'm going to grab the camera here. The teacher talked about these parent letters that you could send home to the students, and that would help the parents understand what the Fitnessgram is, why you're doing it, and what the scores mean. Okay, here is a letter from the principal, the superintendent, that you could send. They also have it in Spanish here. Here is a sample letter they give you for the PE teacher individually. The Fitnessgram website has newsletters that you can print off. Again, telling you what the Fitnessgram is, what it consists of, what the scores mean. Okay. Here is a newsletter that you can send to each individual level of school. So here's an elementary school fitness newsletter, again in Spanish, and a middle school. Okay, and then this document kind of breaks it down into more detail. All right, let's see. Again, it tells you exactly what is the Fitnessgram, the philosophy. It talks about what is the healthy fitness zone, what are the assessments for each component. Talks about, breaks down the component and what each individual one means. Okay, I'm going to fast forward here. Once you have completed the fitness zone, or the Fitnessgram and you put it into the computer, it prints off this report for you that breaks down even more so of what each thing was and the student's individual score in the category. It tracks them year by year, which is where this past is of their past scores, and then their current level that they scored in. So you can see if the students are improving or falling behind in their fitness zones. Okay, as you see, it says healthy fitness zone, and if the bar is in this category, then they have made the healthy fitness zone. If it's not, as in this one, the trunk extension, it shows that they need improvement. Okay. After we went over the reports of it, they showed us how to put it into the computer, how to input all the data that we have collected. The data system automatically calculates the healthy fitness zone for the student, so you don't have to do it. It gives you a number of how many students were in all 5 fitness zones. And if the student was in the healthy fitness zone for all 5 components, they would print off a Presidential Fitness Award, Fitnessgram Award. Okay, you would just put the student's name here and date it, and we usually presented these at the award ceremony at the end of the year and recognized each student that was in all 5 healthy fitness zones. Once, after we went over how to input the data, we went over form breaks for each individual exercise. Okay, again, the teacher called up volunteers, and he would whisper to the students what form break to do, and the class had to point out where the form break was. So they did ones like where you had to do the sit and reach, and your fingertips had to stay together, and if the hands fell apart, that would be a form break. Or if their knee came off the ground, that would be a form break. After we went over all of the form breaks for each fitness component, he asked the class if we had any questions. The main question that came up was on the curl up test. And I'll grab the camera here again. Everybody was asking, if your heel comes off the ground, does that mean that your foot is off the ground for the curl up? Does that count as a fall? He explained that it does not, that your feet have to be on the ground, but your heel can come up as long as the heel does not come off the ground. Okay, or your foot can come up as long as the heel does not come off the ground. After the form breaks, he went over fitness equipment modifications that we could do. Okay, one example that he did was if you have a flat basketball like this one, you could make a little cut in it and fill them up with these plastic bags. If you put enough in them and pack it in, it turns into a medicine ball. The example that he had weighed about 8 to 10 pounds. Okay, and then you can do all kinds of medicine ball exercises with that instead of having to throw away the basketball. Another example he had was a hula hoop that he covered in duct tape, and he let the students play tug of war with it. And he said that works on their muscular strength, their muscular endurance, and their cardiovascular endurance. It wore them out, and it was a great way for the students to play tug of war. Again, instead of throwing away broken equipment, he was able to modify it. At the end of the thing, he went through what was in our book, and we also have these DVDs that will again go over all the different form breaks for each component, as well as the cadences for the pacer test, push-ups, and curl-ups as well. Okay, and that was the end of the seminar. Again, my name is Kyle Reed. Thank you.